All right, so we've got our cat's head finished, and now we need to give our cat some eyes. So I'm going to teach you a technique this time, which you can use when you're drawing very, very small shapes, and that is to zoom in. So that'll be coming up here. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to draw one eye on the cat's head so I can make sure I have the right size. And then remember we talked about symmetry. So if my cat has two eyes, then all I have to do is draw one eye and then I'm going to duplicate it, okay? So if I'm thinking about a cat's eye, for me, that means it's going to be kind of an oval shape. So I'm going to click on this right here and I'm going to draw my cat's eye kind of like that. And let me just kind of click off and see if that's about the right size. Yep, that looks about the right size. Now that I have it the right size, I'm going to move it off of the cat's head because I'm going to be doing a lot of layering in my eye, and I want to make sure that I don't accidentally move one layer all the way behind the cat's head and I can't find it. So I'm just going to move it off to a blank part of my canvas. I could also work over here in my workspace, okay? So whatever you're more comfortable with. Now, the thing about a cat's eye is they don't have a white in their eye, right? Their eye is just color. So I'm going to choose a color for my cat's eye. Choose whatever color you want, but not black, okay? Not black. I don't know, is yellow good? Maybe kind of, there we go. And then my cat has a black outline around her eyes. It looks like she's wearing eyeliner because she's got feliner on. Yay. So I'm going to leave that black outline around the cat's eye. Now, as I said earlier, one of the techniques we use when we're working with very, very, very small shapes is to zoom in. So I'm going to go right here to my zoom tool. You can see it's a little magnifier glass with a plus sign in it. I'm going to click on that to select it. And then you'll see when I move down into my document, my indicator becomes the magnifying glass. And I'm going to keep clicking on this until I get it quite large. Then I'm going to go back and choose my selection tool. That basically turns off my zoom and it turns on my selection tool. I'm going to move this over just a little bit. Okay, now for the center part of my cat's eye, which is going to be black, just excuse the bell, I am going to grab another oval shape. And this one I'm going to draw vertically. And I'm going to use my guidelines until I have that in the center of the eye. So I'm looking for those red cross right there. And then I'm just going to fill this with black because the cat's eye is black in the middle. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little tiny shape that is going to become like a highlight, kind of like a twinkle in my cat's eye. You can choose whatever shape you want. I kind of like this one here. And I'm going to draw it right here. And instead of black, I'm going to make that white, and I'm going to get rid of the outline around it. Then I'm going to use my rotation, and I'm going to turn it so it's like a little twinkle in the cat's eye. Turn a little bit more. Okay. And that is basically how you draw the cat's eye. Okay, so now we have the cat's eye drawn, and remember we were talking about symmetry before. So basically we want to duplicate this eye, but before we do that, we want to group it together so it is one object. If we duplicate it now, we're only going to be duplicating part of the eye. So to group this together, I'm going to put my mouse to the top left hand above all of the objects, click and drag until a box is drawn around all of the objects I want to group together. Then let go. Notice that they are all selected. Then I go Arrange and Group. So you can tell that it's grouped because as soon as you start to move it, all of the objects move together as one unit. And then when we duplicate it, it will duplicate all of them. So remember the shortcut for duplicate. Make sure your eye is selected, and then Control D for duplicate. And booyah, now we have 2 cat's eyes. All right. So next thing we want to do is we want to fix the zoom so that we can actually see our cat's head again so we can get it in the right spot. So I'm going to go back up here to my toolbar. I'm going to use the drop down arrow next to the magnification, and I'm going to click 100%. Now I can see my picture. I can scroll over if I need to. And I'm going to move around here and put those cat's eyes onto the cat's head. So there is one eye. Then I'm going to place the other eye, and I want them to be even. Not quite spaced where I want it to be. And that's about what I want it to look like. Okay. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to group the cat's head with the eyes all together. Because if I move anything right now, you'll see that it all moves separately from each other. So again, to group, I'm going to place my mouse at the top left-hand corner. Then I'm going to click and drag so that a box surrounds everything. Then Arrange and Group. Okay, so now we have our cat's head. It's all grouped together. When we move it, all of the pieces are going to move together. Basically, what we've done is we've taken a bunch of separate objects or shapes, and when we group them together, they now behave as if they are one shape all together. So next thing we're going to do is draw a nose. For a cat's nose, I'm going to choose this triangle. I might have to zoom in a little bit. Let me see what's going to happen. No, this is pretty good.
Students, apologies for the interruption.
Okay, so here we have the cat's nose. I'm going to get it centered, so I'm using my guidelines to center it on the cat's head. And I'm going to go ahead and color it pink because my cat's nose is pink. And this is upside down. And so I'm going to flip it, all right? And instead of using the rotation handle, I'm going to use my Arrange menu. So click on the nose, go to Arrange, Rotate, and this time we're going to do a vertical flip. I guess I like that. I don't feel like it's centered with the eyes. I think I need to move my... Oh, I can't move the eyes. Dang it. You know what I did? I just drew the nose and I didn't group it on the rest of the cat's face. And so that's what the issue is here. Let me see if I can get that to... I'm having trouble getting that in the exact spot that I want it, but that's okay. Okay, there we go. So I have the nose, the eyes. I'm going to group again. So I'm just going to draw a box around it, Arrange, and Group. Now, the last thing I'm going to do is draw some whiskers on this cat's face. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. That's about good. Then go back to my selection tool. So the line tool is kind of a tricky thing to use. In fact, let's stop here and I'll put the line tool in the next video.